in the same way that there's been a rise of Islamophobia, there's also been a rise of anti-Semitism since this conflict escalated, right? How do we separate criticism of Israel and the Netanyahu government and the Israeli military, IDF, from anti-Semitism, right? How do we be clear in trying to separate the two?
Yeah, this is another good question. I myself am Jewish. I am a Jew by choice. So I converted to Judaism in 2022. I had a very, very close friend in college who was rediscovering their family Judaism after their grandpa hid it when he fled from the Shoah, the Holocaust, in Germany. And I was looking for a faith to fill kind of the faith-shaped hole in my own heart. And so I converted to Judaism. I began the process through Congregation Beth Israel here in Austin soon after I moved, and went to the mikveh to kind of complete the ritual on my birthday in 2022. And as a Jew by choice, a Jew by choice and someone who was already politically on the left and already aware of a lot of things going on in Palestine, really took it upon myself to think critically about my relationship to Israel, to Zionism, to Judaism. And I think one of the greatest crimes that the Zionist movement has ever done is conflate Judaism and Zionism. So we have to separate the two. Judaism, the faith, is practiced historically by the Jewish people, although it is a faith and an ethnicity to some extent. And Zionism, the political movement that grew out of the late 1800s, was an answer to the Jewish question in Europe, and specifically was saying the answer to European anti-Semitism is to just take all the Jews and put them somewhere else. And there were several candidates for that. They looked at like Peru, Argentina. They settled on the land of Palestine and created a state. And I don't believe that Judaism or Jewishness can be taken up by a state, a nation state with defined borders and a military. And so criticism of that state is not anti-Semitic. Point blank, period. You can criticize any state. We can criticize the United States. Think about European countries that are pretty nationally homogenous, like Germany, Norway, Denmark. You wouldn't say that you're anti-Norwegian to criticize Norway or something. So why is it then anti-Semitic to criticize Israel as a state? And for that reason, we have to decouple them and criticize the actions of the settler colony of Israel and return sovereignty over that land to the Palestinian people and not get lost in that argument. And I will also add the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, has a pretty bad track record of recording any anti-Zionist or pro-Palestinian action or protest or anything as anti-Semitic, which not only muddies the waters on what is and is not anti-Semitism, but makes Jews generally unsafe in the diaspora because, well, if everything being done is anti-Semitic, what actually is anti-Semitism at that point?
It discounts actual anti-Semitism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the state of Israel kind of traffics in anti-Semitism a little bit. Its propaganda abroad relies on Jews in the diaspora feeling unsafe, feeling like anti-Semitism is just this fact of history, this fact of life that could come back at any moment. It's a historical process. So anti-Semitism has come and gone throughout several hundreds of thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds, and going back thousands of years to the Jews entering diaspora after the destruction of the Second Temple. And it's not simply a historical fact that anti-Semitism exists. It's something done by people, and it can be undone by people as well. And so we need to be clear about what anti-Semitism actually is and what it is not, so that we can talk about the ongoing horrors that were visited upon the Jewish people by Nazi Germany, that now Jewish people in Israel are visiting upon the Palestinians.
Yeah, for sure.